to my channel. This is Dr. Debbie Javier. So in this video, I'll be sharing with you some tips in writing your chapter 5. Yes, we are already on the last chapter. We're done with chapters 1, 2, 3, and 4. And this is already the last chapter, chapter 5. But before that, please do not forget to click the subscribe button if you are new in this channel and the bell button for you to be notified every time I have a new video. You can also give this video a thumbs up and then write your comments and suggestions below. Okay, so let's proceed. How to write the summary, conclusions, and recommendations, or tips in writing chapter 5. So what are some of the tips that I can share in writing your chapter 5? Writing your summary, conclusions, and recommendations. Of course, number 1, write an introductory paragraph. So do not forget to simply write, for example, in your introductory, this chapter presents the summary, conclusions, and recommendations. That would be the introductory paragraph. That should be the first part. Now, let's focus on the first step, which is the summary. How to write the summary. Present the summary of findings. So, you should place a heading, summary of findings. So, how are you supposed to present the summary of findings? Tip number 2, just directly answer the questions in your SOP. So, the basic way of presenting the summary findings is this one. Copy and then paste your SOP number 1, then directly answer it. You don't need to explain anything, just directly answer the question. Okay? Of course, using some data. So, directly answer the question. No need for you to explain because analysis and interpretations have already been done in your chapter 4. Please take note of that. And then, copy and paste question number 2, SOP number 2, then you answer it directly. So, just direct answers of the questions in your SOP. Next, some tips in writing your conclusions. So, first, write an introductory statement. So, these conclusions are based on the findings of the study. Can be an introductory statement or you can create another one. So, as long as you have. Number 2, the conclusion should be the general findings and not the specific findings of the study. Please take note of that one. Do not write specific findings in your conclusion. So your conclusion should only be general findings of your study. Okay? Because specific findings were already reflected in chapter 4. So general findings should be placed in your in your conclusions, I should say, sorry. General findings should be in your conclusion. So usually, these general findings are also based on the SOP. Number 3, it should be written in the present tense. So please take note of that. Not in the past tense, not in the future tense, but your conclusions should be written in the present tense. So I hope I was able to share something that is useful for you to write your conclusions. And of course, some tips in writing your recommendations. So what will be the basis in writing your recommendations? Okay, what are some of the tips that I can share that I personally believe will be very, very helpful? So number 1, write an introductory statement. So you can have, based on the findings of the study, the following recommendations were made. That can be an introductory statement, or you can have your own style of writing it. Number 2, the recommendation should only be based on the findings of the study. You cannot make your personal recommendations. All the recommendations should only be based on the findings. So what did you find out? So based on that findings, write your recommendation. Okay? Number 3, you have to directly state your recommendations. So do not give an introduction about the findings anymore. Directly state your recommendations. For example, if your recommendation is for teachers, teachers should make use of this certain strategy because it was found out that it's very effective to improve the speaking skills of the students. Okay? Number 4, make use of the modals should, must, and may in writing your recommendation. So you can use should, must, and may, because you are recommending on what should people do based on your findings. So you can specifically address groups of people or certain people whom you think will really be able to get something based on the findings of your study. So this is how you're supposed to make your recommendations. So let me have a recap in writing your chapter 5 or your summary, conclusions, and recommendations. So write an introductory paragraph for the summary, present the summary findings, just directly answer the questions in your SOP. For the conclusions, write an introductory statement. The conclusion should be the general findings and not the specific findings of the study. It should be written in the present tense. For the recommendations, write an introductory statement. The recommendation should only be based on the findings of the study. You have to directly state your recommendations and make use of modals should, must, and may in writing your recommendations. Those are some of the tips that I can share in writing your chapter 5. I hope this one will be very helpful for you in constructing your chapter 5, which is the last chapter. Shout out to the following YouTube channels. We have CD Duca Law YouTube channel by Attorney Cecilio Duca, Christine Zhao Vlogs, Zaren Gadi, and Some Nice Vlogger. So again, this is Dr. Debbie Javier telling you to always be a blessing to others. Happy research writing! See you in my next video.